Nice. It's actually a crowded AMA today, guys, or at least not really an AMA. I would say that this is more of the traditional webinars that you guys were used to back in the days. We have been doing quite some of them, I would say. Pretty much every other week we were live. And I'm actually pretty excited to share with you guys that this will become a regular thing again. I believe that over the past few months, we have been working extremely hard in quite a silent mode, I would say. We have been testing many elements of what we have been building over the past 2.5 years. But more especially than that, we have also been developing on what we call the next chapter. And I think that the next chapter is a lot more important than all the stations that we have visited till date. It's actually the next chapter, not only for Propchain as you know it now, it is also the next chapter for Propchain as how it will be in the near future, in the quarters, years ahead in time. And I think that is a very vital element for all of you right now after today's webinar to understand. Because this webinar that I'm hosting tonight will be providing the clarity on why we do, what we have been doing, what we have discovered along the way, but more especially where that has led us over the last few months to a few years actually, when we had the first bits and pieces of this vision. And from here, we are moving forward on the month of September, which is a very interesting one, so to say. We are going to do a quick check. The sound is okay for everyone, as far as I can read. Just checking here in the chat. Seems to be okay. So that means that we can kick it off. Perfect. Okay, guys, the next chapter, the topic of the webinar today. First of all, I think that it's good that we are going to tap base and take a few step backs on what the actual reason was that we started Propchain one day. What is the actual vision that we have been carrying forward over the past 2.5 years, but which has been blurred out a bit over time with all the events that happened, the launch that happened, etc., etc. We have seen quite some blurriness, I would say, when it comes to the actual bigger cause of why we are building what we are building. The vision has always been that we believe that a legacy is not reserved for a select few, but within reach for all who dare to act. And the mission that accompanies that vision is to empower anyone who takes action to achieve their full potential and provide them with world-class tools, technologies, and resources that help them shape their legacies. And I think that in the beginning, that sounds all fancy, but a lot of people till date may not have the full understanding till this moment what that actually means. And for that reason, I wanted to tap into what that actually means, because where does that legacy consist out of, and how relevant is a legacy for you at this moment in time? For the younger people, a legacy may seem and sounds quite far off still, but for the people like myself who have their first child or who have multiple children already, it can actually feel a lot more tangible, because a lot of people associate legacies with their children, with the next generation, for example. And if you look at the definition of that legacy, you tap into the long-lasting impact of particular events, actions, and so forth that took place in the past or of a person's life. And in the basis, I believe that we have been tapping into a cornerstone, or one of the cornerstones of legacy building, with what we have been doing over the past 2.5 years. Because over the past 2.5 years, we have mainly been focusing, and then I scroll back to the mission quickly, on creating some of the tools, technologies, and so the resources to help our users shape a part of that legacy. And then I'm mainly looking at the left side of this slide, which is legacy through income. Propchain, as how you know it today, is basically a fractionalized investment platform or fractionalized real estate. And with that, we're serving the income cornerstone of legacy building. We're providing for a form of passive income. We're providing a tool, an opportunity to build a portfolio of what is usually seen as a legacy item, namely real estate, from the comfort of your phone. And we all know that legacies and the income part of a legacy is helping you to get better education for yourself or for your children or whatsoever. It's simply a money thing. It goes for financial support, being able to financially support your families or your beloved ones or anything that you care about. It can also be the good causes or charity or whatsoever. And last but not least, it obviously benefits the investment side of things, because within the income cornerstone of building a legacy, you're obviously looking to build your portfolios over time to be able to live from what you build, and then further down the line, pass that over to the next generation or to a charity or to a good cause or to a relative or whatsoever. And I think that during all of that time, and I will tap into this a bit further when we get to the part of what we have learned throughout this 2.5 years of building Propchain, we came to the conclusion that legacy is so much more than just income. In fact, it's actually pretty much none of that taps too much or too directly into that income cornerstone. Because another major part that we see within the creation of legacies for yourself is the part of home ownership. And home ownership these days is becoming increasingly difficult. Home ownership and finding yourself a home, getting approved for a mortgage, finding an actual house right now is an extremely complicated process. This is something that is becoming ever increasingly difficult. Look at the Netherlands, but also look at, for example, the United Arab Emirates, where we are based with our offices and so forth. We see the rental nature of the market. We see people struggling to tap into these high house prices. And saying that, we actually kind of discovered that there's so much more to building a legacy where currently roadblocks occur. To get a little bit more informative on what that means, that legacy building through home ownership, you could think about wealth transfer. How many examples don't we know of that your grandparents die and that your parents may inherit their house and that the house is being sold and the income of that sale is being distributed across all of the grandchildren and your parents maybe, or maybe yourself if you had your parents die at this point. And by that, because mostly in these cases, the mortgage has already been fully paid off, there's an actual recreation of legacies that is taking place, because with that money that is being distributed, new houses are being bought, new legacies are being created. So wealth transfer is an essential part of home ownership and of the legacies that people are building globally. Furthermore, generational stability, it taps into what I just mentioned. The home ownership part creates a form of generational stability. You inherit that house maybe one day, maybe your children inherit that house. And the same goes for investment portfolios. The same goes for assets that you build up over time. It's all part of the home ownership vertical, or the home ownership cornerstone is what I like to call it. At the same time, I also believe that cultural preservation to a certain extent is a part of the actual cornerstone of home ownership as well, because legacies reside in a place where they're mostly created. And I believe that everyone has certain family history in their hometown, where they are born, etc., etc. It sets memories. It sets also a form of cultural preservation by doing so. And I think that when you truly start looking at what that legacy actually means and what that word means, what that cause means, you start to find out that a legacy is all about serving a bigger cause, serving something that comes further and on a way higher footprint than money. When you have the income stability, when you have everything in order, legacy building is what truly matters, because that's where the bigger cause of life may lies. And I believe that that is something that we truly found out over the past 2.5 years of building Propchain. And what did we actually build? Because it's good that we tap right back into what we actually have been building and what we actually have accomplished over the past 2.5 years. Because before we enter the new realm of progress, of delivery, of milestones, it's very good that we stand still for a second and actually analyze what we have been doing here, what we have been accomplishing. First of all, I think that we validated a vision, and I'm gonna start at the right side here at the top. We have validated the vision that there's actual demand for tools, for opportunities that build towards people their legacies. And although the fact that they may not always be aware that it's part of that particular legacy, there's still a validated vision 2.5 years later, which you can see in all of the major milestones that we have been able to achieve. We have tested the market. We have successfully tested the market. We have tested the product. And we have absolutely validated that this demand is there, that we're actually serving an actual problem already of investment-based access to real estate markets globally by the fractionalization MVP that we launched, and the 1.5 million euros worth of fractionalized real estate sold. We discovered opportunity as well, and that's where today's AMA is all about. On today's AMA, we have discovered the opportunity, or we are actually sharing with you what we have discovered related to the opportunity that is coming with the other problems that people face in building that actual bigger thing for themselves, what is called a legacy. And that opportunity is what I will be sharing with you guys today, because that's where the roadmap for 2023, 2024 is going to be all about. And then last but not least, we have secured resources. And that was the whole topic of our year. This was one of the key topics actually for this year to accomplish as a company. And everybody that works with Propchain, that has worked with Propchain, that is internal with us, knows that this topic is at the forefront of everything we do this year. We are in here for informational resources, for financial resources, for human resources, but also for example, the product resources that we have been able to roll out this year, and what is actually bringing us back the data that we needed to make the next move. Because as you are used from us, we are really working on the actual data-driven decision-making within Propchain. We're not looking to pitch the next best thing or the next great idea or participate in this whole real-world asset tokenization movement where everybody is focused on, I'm bringing tech to tokenize stuff. It's not where we are after, and it's very important to understand. We are here to serve a bigger cause. We are here to serve a bigger problem, and that's why we believe we differentiate by nature. We differentiate by being what we stand for. And that's something that should become increasingly clear in today's webinar. So to go over a couple of those major milestones, we secured over $5 million in resources till date. In the verticals that I'm going to present to you guys today and over the month of September, we are currently en route to secure another $5 to $10 million in funding to further establish the products, the verticals that we are creating, and to bring them to the market, to bring the users into the products. But also at the same time, we are producing an actual underlying traction that is needed for future funding rounds, but also for stimulating token utility, and more about that token utility and the increase in token utility over the next few slides. We built a waiting list of over 17,000 people till date that are ready to rumble on just one of the actual verticals that we are building, which you know now as Propchain, the fractionalized investment platform for real estate. More about that later. We launched an MVP for our income cornerstone vertical, and that's what you know now as the investment platform, and what you also know for the actual MVP users as the platform that you are currently using. We secured one of the market-leading positions within the real-world asset space without having that as our major goal. That's a great side note, because it was never our major goal to particularly lead the RWA space. I believe that we fit in, but at the same time, we're doing something which is kind of completely different, because we are serving a much different cause than trying to compete with other technology providers out there so that we can close some B2B deals. You need to understand that we are here to realize a colossal vision. That's something that you see at the bottom of this page as well, to secure the resources needed to realize a colossal vision. That's something that we are doing here. And it's good for you guys to understand that we are doing that, that this is our actual cause, that this is our actual route. And the reason why is going to be highlighted within this webinar as well. We closed major partnerships with blockchain masterminds, ambassadors. As per now, I think that many of you guys have seen what we have been able to close, how many KOLs are supporting us, that all of those relations were long-term, and that this was not some short-term shilling around the launch. I believe that everyone has seen that by now. We reached over 50 million impressions across the board over our social outlets, etc., over our mailing lists whatsoever. That is a serious milestone as well, that has planted many seeds, which will be unpopping sooner or later somewhere down the line. We have validated the demand for the income cornerstone vertical with over 1.5 million euros worth of fractionalized estates sold. And to add on that, with I think at least 2 months of rent already being distributed to those particular participants. So this is also another great milestone that we have been able to hit. We consolidated over 50,000 hours of study on all the fundamental pillars that we have now, that we have in presence for you guys, and where you will learn all about during the month of September. We have built a rock solid human resources layer for further rollout purposes. The team is amazing. I haven't seen a team that is so dedicated for a long time. The majority of the team members need a baseball bat to be removed from the office at night, because that's how dedicated this team is. And I've never seen that, honestly, within all of the ventures that we have currently. We have launched the native utility token Propchain as a core driver of utility and connection within the ecosystem. And we have presented you some utility before. Wait until you see the real deal and the full roadmap of that particular token. So, to secure the resources needed to realize a colossal vision. I hope by now it became slightly more clear to you guys what bigger cause we are actually serving here, and how that is presenting an opportunity that is basically on a global scale. And that leads me to one very important and difficult to read sentence. Why is our why contributing to our why, and why we believe our why is the why? And that's a pretty interesting sentence if you go over it, because there's several times the word why in kind of a different outcome variation. So first of all, why is our why contributing to our why? And what I mean by that is, why is what Propchain does and where Propchain stands for contributing to the why of me, of Alex, of all of the team members that are in Propchain, but also all of the community members that are in Propchain, the holders that are in Propchain. Why? Why are they here contributing to our why? And that's very simple. That's because our why is the same. And why do we believe that building a legacy for ourselves as a team has just as much weight as building the legacy and the tools for that for you guys? It's simply because they leverage each other, they strengthen each other, they speed up each other, they make sure that if the interests are aligned, and we have the same interest as you guys, because we are building DY for you guys, for ourselves, then you have a closed loop. And that closed loop is exactly what you need in order to stimulate growth, in order to do something massive, because the biggest companies on this earth are built up on whys. They are built up on beliefs. They are built up on aligned interests of founders and of users or customers or clients or whatever you want to call it. And that's why we believe that the why that we provide you guys is the why and is contributing to our why. So that's enough why for now, for this slide. And it again contributes to securing the resources needed to realize a colossal vision together. So, insights that we have gained over the past 2.5 years. One, a legacy goes far beyond money. Money is a hygiene thing. Money is something that you need in order to make the world go around. Unfortunately, for a major part of anything that you would like to accomplish over time, money will be a key driver. A legacy, at the same time, is going beyond money. It's going to what I leave behind. And of course, money can be an element, but there are also philanthropic elements. For example, for myself, where I see that making an impact in the world at the stage where money is not the issue anymore is giving you a lot more satisfaction, is giving you a lot more energy, is giving you a lot more drive. And that's why we are doing what we are doing. There are far bigger roadblocks when building a legacy than just having the right opportunity. And that's what we realized, guys. We realized that just providing a platform for fractionalized real estate investments is actually kind of insulting to ourselves. Why? Because we understand where we are standing for, we understand our why, and we understand your needs. And spotting all of those problems that come with building that legacy basically got us fully turned on to start tackling the other problems as well and to bringing the other solution as well. Optimal outcome is driven by maintaining receptivity for adaptation. And that's a pretty interesting sentence on its own. Because if we would have basically stuck to our existing roadmap, and if we wouldn't have opened our eyes, and if we wouldn't have identified or acknowledged the opportunity, but at the same time roadblocks that are along the way of building that legacy through real estate, then we would have never got to the point where we are today, with me being the presenting host of what we are doing here and what we will be doing over the next years. So maintaining the receptivity for adaptation is something that is really important, because we have changed course. We have added very vital elements to what Propchain was and is today. Consolidating a team of truly visionary people comes close to magic. That's what I found out over the past 2.5 years as well. Finding the people that are truly passionate for everything, that slash down their salaries by 4, that take 18-hour days, that spend every single free minute of their time being still involved in what we are building here, is feeling close to magic. For me as a founder, for Alex as a founder, and a big shout out to everyone in that team, but also the ambassadors and also you guys all as holders of Propchain. It is truly amazing to see how we are actually applying magic to how quick we get things done, the traction we are gaining, etc., etc. It's very interesting to see. And I've never seen it so effortless, basically, in any company. There's no such thing as impossible when the root of the problem is deeply engraved in people, their mental well-being. What do I mean by that? Because this is a very important thing to understand, and it's also very important to keep in the back of your minds when thinking about Propchain, when thinking about solutions, and when explaining Propchain and its verticals to someone else that may be interested or benefited by what we are building and rolling out over the course of the next 24 months. Because in the end, the problem of many people, where stress comes from, where uncomfortability comes from, etc., has all to do with not having their legacies in order. Their income cornerstone may be out of balance. Their actual home ownership cornerstone can be out of balance. The cultural side can be out of balance. It's mostly a problem that is so deeply engraved that it is affecting mental well-being of people. And seeing that, knowing that this is an actual problem has gained us the insight that we need to act upon a lot more of those global issues. And if we do so, we could actually have a massive adoption. And your message is not just a what, but most definitely a why. That's what we really found out the past 2.5 years in gaining our human resources, in gaining customers adopting what we are building. A product is truly just as good as its adoption, and it's only stimulated by finding out the actual root of the problem that is so deeply engraved in people that their mental well-being is affected. And that's when you can truly build on something very big. So to find the affirmation for a founder's vision, that's what pretty much all that we've done in the last 2.5 years by gaining these insights, by remaining open for these insights. So the next part is the lack of opportunity related to home ownership is an increasing problem on global scale that goes beyond income as a necessity of life. Very interesting finding. Once more, the lack of opportunity related to home ownership is an increasing problem on global scale. Very important parts here for a business. From a business mindset, you have read through very important parts. Increasing problem, global scale. Then the last part of the sentence goes beyond income as a necessity of life. As a human race these days, we are thriving on certain necessities of life. We are thriving on food and water. We're thriving on home, or a home, a shelter, and we're driving on income, which is kind of the three leading elements of the necessity of life. And seeing that we have more problems, increasing problems on a global scale that go beyond the income element as a necessity of life, gave us the idea that we needed to be in the position to start changing that particular outcome, to start tackling that problem that we're facing when it comes to home ownership. And only if we manage to do that, we will be able to build and strengthen our other vertical that you know now already, which is the income part. So the fractionalized real estate investment platform, as something that can be fueled by the home ownership part. So this is a very interesting finding, and we're going to dive right into that. So what is it, what we are going to pitch you guys? And this is where it's all about when it comes to today's webinar. The opportunity that we have found over time by launching that investment vertical, by listening to you guys, by listening to people that have turned us off, VCs that turned us down, the negative, the positive, everything consolidated. The opportunity is there, an ecosystem approach that contributes to our vision and mission focused on the major cornerstones of building a legacy. And what does that opportunity actually present? It presents the opportunity to create a horizontal layer, an ecosystem layer, which is a blockchain-based ecosystem where we are focused on creating technology, creating value, capturing value, and providing a form of efficiency. But by itself, those three words maybe don't mean that much. But if we go one step below, we're looking at the verticals, which are basically the apps and the apps that we are building on our own SmartNet chain. I'm not going to spoil too much because that's something that you're all going to find out by September. If this is going to become a layer 1 or a layer 2 or a SmartNet or whatsoever, that you will find out all about. But just to give you a bit of scale, we are building the DApps on our own technology layer, basically. And then we are looking at a lot more even than what you are familiar with now. Because right now you're just familiar with Propchain as an investment vertical, basically. Not even a vertical. Propchain, till today, has always been an investment platform. But that's going to kind of find its evolution now. Because what happens here is that Propchain is going to grow into the technological ecosystem. And the investment platform, as how you know it now, will just be one of the many sub-verticals that will be launched on that blockchain-based horizontal layer. And then you can see what this does, because there's a home ownership solution that we will be introducing that will be focused on, really innovatively establishing and giving people that are renting their homes now the opportunity to actually own the home they are living in, they are renting. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because there's a whole lot of information going to be distributed across during September. More about that in a bit. Credit, also a big part of home ownership. It could actually be seen as a sub-vertical of home ownership, which is getting your credit scores in order, making sure you have the right credit scores to further down the line get that mortgage, to get that leverage that you need in order to establish home ownership for yourself. And then last but not least, so many innovative prop tech ideas that are currently there that are simply not making it. Why? Because they missed their why. They're not serving a bigger cause, but they're actually serving severe issues that you can face in providing these solutions that you see on top of this. And then the growth strategies. The growth strategies that come with actually building a blockchain ecosystem and getting volume, getting TVL, getting transactions, etc., etc. How are we planning to do that? First of all, we believe in put your money where your mouth is. Instead of launching just another blockchain ecosystem and then hoping for the projects to start building on your infrastructure, we are not looking to sit at the side and wait for people to approach us and wait for them to pop up in our lives magically and start assisting us in building our legacies. No, we are not taking that route. We have never taken that route, because as you know from us, we are here to make it happen ourselves. So we build on our own technology. We build the investment verticals, we build the home ownership verticals, the credit verticals, and we will be focused on prop tech startups, prop tech scale-ups that we will be bringing on chain with the value proposition of giving them the human resources, the informational resources, the grants, maybe even an equity stake, all through the in-house growth strategies that we have. So we're not waiting at the sideline hoping that one day our blockchain ecosystem called the Propchain will grow to new heights. No, we are here to make it happen ourselves, as you are used from us, because we have been delivering at any given time, and it has worked out pretty well so far. And then the interesting part there, Prop C, as you know it by now, is going to be the core utility token throughout the whole ecosystem, which simulates a 700% growth in token utility. over the course of the roadmap. So that means that next to the utility that you were used to, you're now going to see the token come back in every single vertical and also in every single prop tech startup that we will be acquiring with our VC fund, or where we will partner with, which we will bring on chain. So better than that, a 7x on the number of utilities I cannot bring, but maybe over time, as we remain adaptive, we will find more. So I hope this satisfies a little bit here. The sub-sentence here: to create an everlasting legacy by capturing amplified intrinsic value. Another quite difficult sentence, but with a very deep meaning, because what we are doing here is that by launching a horizontal layer and by bringing all of those verticals together in one ecosystem, we can capture the intrinsic value that lays in the business models of those particular verticals. So it's very interesting to see that you only need basically one layer, one horizontal layer, to capture all of that value below. And that's going to be interesting for every single one of you guys that is currently sitting within the project. So that's the opportunity, guys. I hope that excites a bit, because this is something really big. And over the month of September, you will get a boatload of clarity on how big this actually is and what we are doing, because we're not revealing everything in this webinar today. So the way forward is based on transferring informational resources to what matters the most to accomplishing adoption. And that person is you. This is where September is going to be all about. And from the first day of September, we will be starting our spotlight weeks. And the spotlight weeks are the weeks where we are presenting every single week the ecosystem and the verticals. So every single week, starting with the ecosystem week, we present everything: the branding, the websites, the decks, the roadmap, everything you can think of that particular vertical or ecosystem as a whole is being presented to you guys, is being shown. And from there, you will be able to find out what that actually means. What it means from a tech perspective, what it means from a go-to-market perspective, what it means from a utility perspective, the roadmaps, the press releases that we have lined up around this particular launch of the ecosystem and so forth. This is all going to take place during those spotlight weeks. So the whole of September is filled with those, and we're very excited to show you everything about that. So to establish a well-informed congregation ready to distribute into the public, in very simple language, what it says is that we need the community informed, ready to bash out the excitement and everything that has been disclosed to them by storm into the public over the time after. So this is a very important month, guys, and we have been preparing a lot behind a closed curtain for this delivery. It's going to be the biggest delivery, the major delivery. The picture that we've shared previously as the announcement picture for this AMA hopefully says enough by now. It has explained itself. But more, digital board. And here you see a small sneak peek of the digital board dashboard, because there's also a digital board dashboard where we will have voting, where we'll have enhanced staking, where we have pools, where we have insights, where we have digital board meetings, etc., etc., etc. We have been quiet for a bit with the digital board members, but trust me, a lot has gone through the actual product development side, through the logic development, the legal side, the information side. Here you go. And the digital board will be the primary receiver of all that has to be told. And we start not in September for the digital board. We start next Thursday, the 24th of August, 2024. We will be having our first digital board meeting, and you can be part of that, and you can hear everything with regards to the roadmaps and with regards to what has been presented in this particular webinar today. So this is the benefit of being a digital board member. And shortly after this AMA, in the next few days, we will be disclosing how you can become a digital board member, how you can be part of this movement, how you can sit every single quarter on our digital board chair and discuss with the management of the company, the executives of this company, the HR departments of this company, the finance departments of this company. You as a digital board member are going to be amongst these people, and you're going to have a voice. You are having a voice that counts in the decision making of the actual company. And that's something that is next to a DAO pretty much unseen. But here it will be a bit better even, because you have the direct insights, and you are going to make sure that you put those insights there. Because as I mentioned before, the only way how we make this why work is by enhancing and leveraging the whys of each other. That means that your voice counts as much as how we believe that this beautiful vision should come to life. So this will be very interesting. Keep an eye on the announcements channel, because this is what is waiting there. The future has always been shaped by visionaries. Together we build the future. Together we build our legacies, and strength comes through unity. And that's what leaves me at the end of the presentation today. That's what leaves me at the end of this webinar, where I wanted to share with you guys what we are building, why we are building it, and how together we're making this win, we're making this vision, we're making this legacy become a reality for every single one of you guys. I want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to thank everyone for listening, for staying here. I've never seen so many people in an AMA, and never seen so many people that stayed for such a long time. So I hope it was worth it, and I hope you are going to have a great couple days following up, taking that DBM seat, the digital board member seat. I want to see you guys in that next Thursday's AMA, in that next Thursday digital board meeting. And I'm really looking forward to September, because that's going to be a big one. We have a lot more behind the sleeves, and we're going to drop it all on you during September. Thank you for being here, guys. It's not a question-based AMA today. This was really a webinar style, and we're looking forward to bringing you the next potential information next Thursday. Keep an eye on the announcements channel. Thanks all for being here, and I'm looking forward to speak to you again by then.